Hi, everybody. Um, I was just thinking, if everybody has their own little thing when they go on a cruise that they're afraid of happening. Now, is the boat going to sink? Those kind of things, right? But apart from that, apart from the worst possible scenarios, what's something that you're kind of nervous of happening on a cruise? Because there's one thing for me, and it's never happened to me. Never. But I always am worried that it's going to happen on my next cruise. So first off, let's list some things that a lot of people are really worried that might happen on a cruise, and then I'll tell you mine. So first off, even now people are saying, COVID. I hope I don't get COVID on a cruise ship. Now, is COVID still out there? Yes. Is it as severe as it was back in 2020? No. It's basically another flu to what we have nowadays. I recently just did a story of a family getting back from Alaska, and many of them had COVID, and they were just feeling down in the dumps. So I know it can ruin your cruise, but I don't live in fear of it. To me, it would be just like coming down with a cold on a cruise. I often get like the sniffles on a cruise sometimes and start coughing once in a while, because if I'm in a warm climate, say the Caribbean, and it's like 100 degrees outside, and then I step back inside into my cruise cabin and I crank up that air conditioning, and then I go to sleep at night, and I wake up in the morning and I'll have the sniffles because I'm going from hot to cold to hot to cold all day long. So I don't really live in fear of that. Now the next thing is norovirus. Norovirus on a cruise ship is most people's biggest fear of, happening with something out of their control, is that. And I have lived that. I've gone through it. It ruins your trip. But I don't live in fear of it. I take my precautions. I wash my hands going into the buffet. I wash my hands and everything during the day. Normal things to try and prevent getting the spread of the norovirus. But I don't not eat in the buffet. I don't not do things based on possibly catching norovirus. You could do that anywhere in the world, and suddenly you're not. You're ruining everything you do just trying to protect yourself from norovirus. So that's not another thing that I really am too concerned about, even though it does happen fairly, I won't say frequently, but you hear stories often enough, right? But no, that's not it. So what am I worried my luggage isn't going to show up on my cruise? No. Not worried about that neither. That's not a big fear of mine. Worst case scenario, I end up buying one or two, pairs of pants and shirts and underwear on my cruise, and I live with that. And, I claim it on my insurance. So that's not a big concern of mine as well. I usually know my luggage will eventually show up, but no, I'm not afraid of that as well. How about getting to the cruise terminal, there being a mix-up, and I can't get on the ship for some reason? My paperwork's not in order, or something's fishy, or my cruise has been canceled. Nope, not in fear of that neither, because, having travel agency, I'm pretty knowledgeable of what paperwork needs to be done. I double check all my paperwork and everything before I go. My passport's up to date. I know the expiry dates. I know all the laws of where I'm going. I know where I need a visa. I know where I need a travel transport permit, etc. So I'm pretty good that way. So I'm not even afraid of being turned away at the cruise terminal. But the thing that I've started growing a little bit nervous of, because not only would it ruin your cruise, it just kind of grosses me out, are bed bugs. Getting bed bugs on your cruise. either left there by somebody else because the stateroom wasn't cleaned properly or something, or they just hid enough to be there and spread into your cabin. Because they can go from one cabin to another. Doesn't even mean it was the people in your cabin. You could have an empty cabin for 2 weeks and the bed bugs came from another cabin and got into there. But all this started when I traveled to Disney with my daughter and her family, and we stop at a hotel, we would go to our Disney hotel on our travels, and they would look for bed bugs on every corner of the room, in the couch, on the bed, everything. And it just started getting into my head now that I check for bed bugs when I go on a cruise. I lift up the corners of the mattress and I look for anything that might have been hiding. Because once you get bed bugs, and if they get into your clothes, into your luggage, that is like, you're done. Just throw all your clothes away. But it's almost impossible to get them all gone. You can steam clean them, burn them, almost anything, but they just stay there kind of thing. Not to mention you're going to get bit all night and might not know what it is, because it might just feel like you're itchy a little bit until you wake up in the morning and see all these spots all over you, especially around your ankles and your feet. So yeah, bed bugs are a thing for me. Now, I've never had bed bugs on a cruise. In fact, I've never had bed bugs in a hotel. And I've stayed at some really dingy hotels before. Let me tell you, I used to work for CBC News, where I was a contractor, and I used to drive around news crews to various items and shoots and news stories that were going on. Well, some of these stories were in very small, out-of-the-way places, and we'd pull into these lodges or these motels, and you walk in, and they are gross. But that's the only place for 100 miles to sleep, so you end up sleeping there. And so I've been lucky enough to never have bed bugs. But the thought of having bed bugs, I swear to God, if I get bed bugs, whether they're in my luggage or not, that's whole suitcase and everything, I'd say, here you go. just toss this into the ocean for all I care. Bring it down to your incinerator room, burn everything, get me out of this room. I would strip down naked, get a bathrobe, go to the shopping area, buy my new clothes, and be moved to a new room. And if I couldn't get into a new room, I'd probably be sleeping in the lobby. Because although I've had, like, people in my family have had bed bugs before in apartments that they've lived in, and it takes weeks to get rid of them, and fumigating and et cetera, and they just keep popping up and popping up. So yeah, if you're wondering what my one fear of ever getting on a cruise ship is, it's getting bed bugs. Ugh.